I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Don't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Sinisa Munagadi. I'm an education activist in equal education.
My name is Songose. I stay in Kailicha. I'm an activist at Equal Education.
My name is Kuluma Ngamihlali. I am an activist. I'm an education activist from Equal Education.
My name is Esetu Plagi. I live in Kailicha. I'm an education activist in Equal Education.
My name is Penatis Sakele from Kailicha. I'm an education activist from Equal Education.
Hi, my name is Asisi Bombana. I'm an equal education activist.
I'm all for decolonizing our curriculum. Yes, we can, like you say, it's a thing already in university spaces. We want to decolonize our curriculum in university, but we also need to decolonize our curriculum in high schools and in primary schools. We cannot be taught every single period of history about Hitler and Nazi Germany, but you hear nothing about South African history. The Freedom Charter.
Last page,
right?
Freedom Charter.
I mean, it's like half the people don't even know who the flip is Krotoa. No one knows that. But that is black history. That is black colored history right there. You know, but people don't even get to hear about that because our stories are not being told. But then who tells our stories? We need to tell our own stories, you know? And another thing we have to focus on is that our institutions need to start recognizing the stories that are already told. I mean, Quilo is still using books from like deep colonialism, you know? But I mean, there are people like, Prof Ndima was like a lawyer, went up to a magistrate and was a judge, you know, those kind of people. They write this literature, but our institutions are just so resisting using that literature. And when we speak of decolonizing our education system and then decolonizing our minds and therefore our country, we speak of those kind of literatures being used, you know, recognizing the black child to actually use their literature, and then at a point also give them that platform, no, to express themselves that these kids can imagine, man. Because I mean,
but also when when I speak about the curriculum, also I think also like we're forgetting abona bandu like who are supposed to do this curriculum. The teachers must be involved when we create a curriculum engine, because the teachers have an experience of like, okay, what kind of ilanoza of the teachers. Yeah, what kind of learners that are in the classroom? Different learners also ezipa. I think also net teachers nazo must like take part in changing also the education system, because the teachers are silent about Ilano's education system here to South Africa. But although both they are the most affected ones, I don't know if maybe they are silent because they want to be silent, or they are silent just because there is something like Ben's silent. Yeah, so I don't want to judge them, but I want to say like but they can play a critical role are changing the curriculum also, because they understand and they know the mindset of learners.
Okay, I have a question, guys. In terms of decolonization, I've been hearing this thing about decolonization, but I have a question. Maybe it's my mind, or I'm struggling to get a sense. How are we going to decolonize mathematics, for an example, right?
Can I?
Okay, I'll give you a chance, but I just want to make my stance. How can you decolonize mathematics? Because 1 + 1, there's no way that you can decolonize the answer, which is 2, right? Mm-hmm. And another thing, how can you decolonize science?
Physics.
Or physics.
Biology.
For an example, when we talk about water, H2O, yes, you can't decolonize that water has different forms of phases. It can be water vapor, it can be ice, it can be liquid. So you can't decolonize that because it's practical, I can see it, right? So I agree that we can decolonize the language, we can decolonize things like law, we can decolonize, I don't know, all of those things.
I'm happy you mentioned the language.
Struggling.
Take a grade 12 paper, mathematics. At the front of the paper, it's English, 1 + 1, solve this, whatsoever. Turn the paper around, it's Afrikaans. the language.
Okay.
Solve is written in Afrikaans. We will have solve in Xhosa. We'll have solve in Zulu. We'll have solve in Pedi. All of those kind of things. So when we decolonize, we are not going to change the understanding or a periodic table or some sort. We don't change those things. But how it's written, that's the start. That's the start. How it's written. If maths can be written in Afrikaans, it can be written in Zulu, it can be written in Xhosa, it can be written in any language that
But
we
the
have.
Nguni language did not have a periodic table.
They took 400 years to create that. Colonization took 400 years.
We
Where
are
are we?
not-
We're in 20 years of democracy. We can't be doing that. We're in 20 years of democracy. They took 400 years to create their own things. So now, when it decolonize stuff, inye zimbini zintathu. That's 1, 2, 3. Even in Zulu, there's 1, 2, 3. Even in English, even in Afrikaans, there's 1, 2, 3. There's so many.
They didn't have this
No,
things
no,
in
Mamela.
our language.
Listen,
We didn't
listen,
have
listen,
them.
listen, honey, listen. Mamela does
We didn't have maths.
Mamela does
If you can bring my mother to school and then you ask him about what is this place, when I in English you're saying this is Medula Oblingata, but my mother will tell you what is this place. Yeah, Medula Oblingata in Xhosa.
That's decolonization.
That was
decolonization.
if I can tell you, even your great grandfather will tell you how they counted their cows.
Yeah.
They use stones.
That's
And they know if one cow goes in, they took 1 stone from that batch. If second cow comes, until they would know if one stone left, there's only 1 cow that hasn't come in. That's mad.
Even in grade 2, even in grade 2, when they started to do maths in grade 2, they tell you to bring iziciko zebhotile. Come with iziciko
Can I get a
zebhotile. They
word
teach you how to count.
Can I get a word in?
Did we have science?
Can I get a word in?
Yes, also in
No.
science.
Can I get a word in?
Let us speak. Let us speak.
So, I get singisabakhonya o inye zimbini zintathu, right? But xa ubhala numerals like ubhala 1 kanje u2 kanje, awubhali igama uthi inye uthi zimbini, uyambhala kanje, right? So sibuyi, literally ke ngoku sana it's a universal unit. Ke ngoku it's a universal unit.
So you can say
if
inye.
wasixoleleza kwilo kuthiwa yintoni amicus curiae, what is amicus curiae? Uyamyeka amicus curiae ahlale Latin because it's a Latin word esetyenziswa kwalaw. That is the numeral yakwalaw if nesiyithetha kanjalo. Yabo?
I mean,
But we decolonize ukubuza ngesixhosa uba yintoni amicus curiae.
Even in Zulu,
Yabo?
yini in Zulu.
It's just translation.
It's not merely translation.
the start. That's the start.
It's just a translation. It's not merely a translation. It's identity being embedded into the paper you're about to write.
So we're not doing away with maths and
No, it is not saying, but
Translation.
all white people should leave, only black people should speak vernacular. No.
But Afrikaans people progress because izinto zabo ziyenziwe nge-Afrikaans, so it's easier for them to understand.
Imagine now, when they Xhosa home language, you have to write a paper, the biology in English. What is this Xhosa home language?
Imagine writing biology in Xhosa, chief. Because we had science. We had science because in the olden days or pre-colonial Africa, if you are in York, for instance, traditional doctors knew how to heal that. You wouldn't die. That's science. That's science. Science shouldn't be the labs, the white coat, all of that. Our traditional leaders, that's science in itself. So to decolonize education is not to bring back things that we do pre-colonial or Africa or all kind of things, but what we have now to decolonize. That's why in UCT, for instance, the start to decolonize was to remove the statue of Cecil John Road because we don't relate as black people, as black
How the
Africans.
foolish generation
We don't
started.
relate to such.
How the
Yeah.
foolish generation started.
To understand
If literally they would speak of decolonization in that sense of buying and I get rid of everything, we wouldn't have education also. Like I mean, we wouldn't have I don't want to use the word civilization, but it's like literally the only word I can use right now. But we wouldn't have the civilization we have right now if we'd say let's decolonize in that sense. You eradicate everything that's Western. Like would literally turn into Boko Haram song.
That's why even our airports now we write names of our fallen struggle heroes. That's why the statue next to Parliament want to bring a statue of Mama Winnie Mandela because we relate. Because that's where we come from. We have our own identity as people. So if we are the only people in this room know that, let's starting to teach that. our brothers and sisters that are in grade 8, in grade 5, that this is Biko, this is Mama Winnie, this is so and so. Not getting away with the Africana history, the Anglo-Boer War. Teach our children that what is Anglo-Boer War and why did it happen? Because if you check the history, because Anglo-Boer War and that's the African people relate to that, because most of our African people were killed in Anglo-Boer War by the Europeans. So teach our children those kind of histories, because when we have that, then everyone will have identity in this world. Because if I teach it in Xhosa, a Xhosa black person will be able to understand that. If you teach it in Afrikaans, African-speaking people will understand that.
I'll literally tell you one thing. You know, monuments have such significance in telling the story of a country. You know, for example, if you look at that poem Ozymandias, it speaks like about the value of how Illinois' statues tell the history of Illinois.
If someone from Switzerland is flying to OR Tambo International Airport, when we search who's OR Tambo, you get South African history. That's decolonizing.
Even if you look at Simonstown is named after Simon van der Stel, who apparently discovered Simonstown. Sana. Yes, if it was never there. How do we discover people that live there?
Oh, he even got there.
Also, like, people have this idea that in all these places that are urban, like the Transvaal and the Cape, okay, they know that in the Cape, but they feel like in the Transvaal there were never people there. I mean, like, how do you have a place that has no people at all in a country? No, because like literally they'll tell you, Bana, no people there. I'm like, Sana, how they like who built that town. But I'm like, Sana, how?
They came across with that land. It's not theirs.
It's already there.
Also, you literally cannot be discovering things when your places and discovering people. Next thing will be your people who you own, and you can do whatever you want because you discovered us, as if it's some science experiment. Because we're not.
No, someone once told me that history is dangerous. I don't know if it's the real reason why history isn't taught at school. Because now if you look at young black students, think this situation we live in are normal. Because they were born in it. Because now, somehow, I don't know if the fear is, if they get the South African history, now they'll all be awake.
Yes.
They'll be all conscious. Everyone will be all conscious, and that will cause trouble for the neoliberalist, capitalist.
I once read this thing that said that, so this guy, Utwana, he was sitting with his white friend and his black. And so he was asking, why can't people, or like even white people, trust black people? And so this white guy was like, because at times you don't know whether you wake up tomorrow and decide to burn this entire country because of what happened to you. You know? And I was like, that is amazing. Because at times you wake up like, shit, I hate white people. I just want to, because so much is going on. Like if you watch Sarafina, like at a point, I never wanted to watch Sarafina because every time I watch Sarafina, I have this hate in me. I don't know how to deal with it because I feel like so much has happened. And even though I was not there to actually feel, but like, I just hate the stuff that happened. And it just literally angers me in a way, And coming to the song essay about history, and I'll be a philosophy right now. I'll be a philosopher. And I will say that as long as Elion can never write the stories of the hunter, the hunter will always be glorified. Tina, we don't have someone to write our stories, so the person who gets someone to write their own story will always be glorified because they're telling their own history. So how's about we tell our own stories the way we want them to be heard and tell our own truths?
My dream is an equal and a just society for everyone living in South Africa, and to kind of contribute of making that equal and just society in South Africa.
My dream is to become an actor so that I can tell all of those stories which are happening and my experience of life.
My dream is to see a liberated black child, and more especially to see a liberated girl child.
One of my dreams is to become a teacher. I would really love to see young black people making education one of their priorities in their lives.
My dream is to become a motivator to some young entrepreneurs who want to create a system whereby we will be calling it a
black capitalist system. My dream is to become a leader, and I've been
sort of living that dream by being part of this organization.